RaceSim Studios' Formula V10 recently burst onto the sim racing scene as a late contender for Car of the Year. When I first posted a video about it, many of you asked whether it was similar to the Automobilista Formula V10. Let's compare. So right away guys, off the top, I just want to say a huge thank you to all you guys who brought the Automobilista Formula V10 back to my attention. I've been neglecting it for a while now, but when I was driving it, I was just having such an amazing time, and it actually helped me drive the RaceSim Studio Formula V10. As many of you know who watched the first video I did on the Formula V10 for Assetto Corsa, I was really struggling with it. It didn't really take much to send the back end flying around. It's more touchy, it's more twitchy than I am used to in Assetto Corsa cars. And for that reason, I was having some frustrations with it, but really enjoying it, really enjoying the incremental improvements for sure, but it was tough. It punished you for being too liberal with your throttle, with your braking, with your steering, anything like that. And I jumped into the Automobilista Formula V10 and just instantly connected with it. It's a car, again, that I've sort of been neglecting. I did drive it a while back, but I'd just gotten away from it, and it helped my driving of the Assetto Corsa, the RaceSim Studio version, that is, of the Formula V10 immensely. And here's why. What I noticed with the Automobilista Formula V10 is actually that when you overdrive this car, especially with your throttle oversteer, your on throttle oversteer that is, the back end steps out, but the force feedback for me in Automobilista is such that I can feel it right away, I can catch it, I can back off the throttle right away, and I was turning laps consistently. So with the Formula V10 and Automobilista, I was able to turn about 10 laps right off the jump, right as soon as I jumped into it, which I was not able to do in the RaceSim Studio Formula V10. So cool, I was a lot more consistent with the Automobilista Formula V10, and it just helped me so immensely. I was learning how to, not overdrive the car without the frustration of spinning it like I was in the Assetto Corsa version. So then I jumped back into the Assetto Corsa version, and I was so much better. Whereas previously I could barely run, 2 laps at Spielberg here at the Red Bull Ring in the RaceSim Studio Formula V10. Now I was running 6, 7, 8. Basically I was running out of fuel before I was overdriving the car or spinning it or anything like that. So again, thank you so much guys. This helped my enjoyment of the car, and honestly it bumped it way up in my, I'm going to be doing a Cars of the Year showcase pretty soon, and I think the RaceSim Studio Formula V10 is going to be right near the top. I haven't decided exactly where it sits yet, but with this newfound enjoyment of it, it's certainly up there, so thank you guys so much for that. Now, how do the cars exactly compare? Well, let's first take a look at a side-by-side lap. So as you can see guys, I was a little bit faster in the end with the Automobilista Formula V10. Those were my best laps in each. I was creeping down near the 110 mark in the Automobilista Formula V10 and high 111s for the Race Sim Studio Formula V10. But very similar through the first part of the lap, just the high-speed cornering was a little bit more confidence-inspiring in the Automobilista version, but once again, it just served as sort of a training tool for the Race Sim Studio version and increased my enjoyment of the Formula V10 from Race Sim Studio a lot. In many respects, these are very similar cars in how they handle both in Assetto Corsa and Automobilista. Twitchy is a word you heard me use if you watched my review of the Race Sim Studio car, and I would say the Automobilista version is almost as twitchy in terms of every little bit of steering, every little bit of braking, every little bit of accelerator matters a lot. You need to be very mindful of your inputs with this car, and also your setup matters a ton. We're not talking about small changes that a setup makes. If you loosen your rear end or your front end by just a few clicks, you're gonna feel it. And same thing with your accelerator, with your braking. If you're 10% over on your accelerator, you're gonna have a rough time. Same as your braking, same as your steering. It's a very sensitive car, and the Automobilista version, as mentioned, is not different. What is different is how the car responds in terms of the force feedback is what I find. So like I was mentioning earlier, when I overdrive the car in Automobilista, I can catch it. It's right there, I can feel it through the wheel, I can back off my accelerator right away and catch it. I was not able to do that in the Race Sim Studio version. Perhaps it would have come with time, but I think I just at least accelerated the learning curve by driving the excellent Automobilista version. But the cars definitely both have the same sort of twitchy, the same extremely reactive, the same extremely sensitive nature, between the two Formula V10 cars. But overall, very good experience with both cars. So if you're asking yourself, can I do with just the Formula V10 from Automobilista if the cars are that similar? Yes and no. No, in the sense that I think you would be selling yourself short if you do not own the Race Sim Studio version. If you're a fan of the V10 era Formula 1 cars, I don't think you can do much better than the Formula RSS 2000 V10 from Race Sim Studio. However, dollar for dollar, there's really no comparison. Right now with the Steam Winter Sale, Automobilista is 75% off, so it's going to cost you just over €5 for the whole game, including the Formula V10 and so many other cars, plus the ability to mod, of course. And currently the Race Sim Studio Formula V10 is €4 on its own, so you're talking a difference. Currently, I think it's about €1.25 between the full game of Automobilista and this one car. So for value, yeah, Automobilista is the way to go. But I do think overall I probably prefer the Race Sim Studio version now that I'm sort of getting the hang of it. Like I said, guys, it's a contender in my mind for Car of the Year. It's just so fantastic, so rewarding once you start to dial that in. So in summary, guys, very, very similar cars, the Formula V10 from both Automobilista and from Race Sim Studio for Assetto Corsa. If you're going to own one, I would say it's the Race Sim Studio version. However, you are not at all sacrificing much by going with the Automobilista version. It is fantastic in its own right. And guys, if you're having trouble driving the Race Sim Studio version, jump into Automobilista, turn some laps there. As I said, it's much more of a confidence builder than the Race Sim Studio version. If you overdrive it, you're just gonna kind of shake the rear end. You're not going to spin full on like you do in the Race Sim Studio version, and it could probably help you like it helped me. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you're progressing with the Race Sim Studio car. Are you having frustrations with it, or did you just kind of get it right from the start? And thank you once again to Race Sim Studio for this amazing car. It's looking great. Well done to Risa Studios and Automobilista. Your Formula V10 is a fantastic car in its own right. Thanks guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.